All right, where to start tonight with tonight's Bream Team panel? So much going on. Let's bring in Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and the former press communications director for Trump 2020, Erin Perini. Great to have both of you back with us.
Hi, Shannon.
Okay, so let's start with this story about this Bodega worker. The New York Post editorial board posted this. Self-defense isn't a crime. It's time for Manhattan to ditch. DA Alvin Bragg says, get caught with an illegal gun, get released without bail. Shove an elderly person to the ground, attack someone because they're Asian, a slap on the wrist. Shoplift again and again and again, nothing. But defend yourself in your place of business from a man who attacks you, and Bragg sends you to Rikers. I mean, Erin, I keep feeling like there's something more we don't know about this story, because on the face of it, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and it looks like prosecutorial misconduct by Alvin Bragg at the basis. Not only was the bail absolutely egregious, from the limited footage we can see, this seems to be a clear-cut case of self-defense. He moved very quickly to a second-degree murder charge, which is an aggressive charge for an individual who was clearly provoked into a self-defense posture. But this is what you get with these radical left-wing prosecutors. They don't care about the violent criminals. They actually care more about the violent criminals than they do about the victims day after day. It's so heartbreaking to see a man have to defend himself, end up in Rikers. And what are we trying to talk about here? He's saying the investigation's still ongoing. I can't imagine a single grand jury would bring down an indictment on this. Alvin Bragg should be ashamed, fired, and run out of New York City.
Well, Leslie, another part of this puzzle piece to this story that seems so strange is the woman who he originally had the altercation with, that she tried to buy something and it wouldn't go through, and he took the items back. She was very upset about how that went down. Went and got her boyfriend, I guess is the story, and then came back. But she allegedly at some point pulled out her own knife and was trying to stab the guy who was working, who ended up stabbing her boyfriend. But from what I understand, Bragg has not brought any charges against her.
That's correct. And I would agree 100% with what you said at the onset of this segment, Shannon. There's got to be some more to this that we don't know about. And I say that because when I first heard that this man grabbed the little girl's hand, as a mother, I thought, what? You grabbed the kid's hand? But then when I saw the video footage, I thought this is clearly self-defense. The police, in their report, they stated that it was self-defense. And typically the district attorneys are going to follow what the police officers state or recommend, and then of course with the video out there. So I do think there may be something else. I must say I find it a bit ironic as a liberal, although I'm a centrist and a moderate. I don't consider myself at all this fringe element of my party, or a staunch progressive. But progressives are always, like we have Gascon here in Los Angeles. Progressives are always having the fingers waved at them because they're not being tough enough on crime. And here, people are angry because they're saying, hey, you got the wrong person with this crime. As we know, the individual who died did have a record of violence against a police officer.
Right, and my thought was, is Bragg trying to overcorrect in this particular case? I don't know, but we're going to watch and see what happens as it moves forward. I want to ask you guys about this New York Times headline, the rise of the far-right Latina, talking about some of the women who have either just been elected or are running for races as conservatives, but also being Latina. It says, what's most striking is that Miss Flores, and this is Mayra Flores, who is now Congresswoman Flores because she won, says she did so by shunning moderates, embracing the far right, and wearing her support for Donald J. Trump on her sleeve. Her campaign slogan, God, Family, Country, was meant to appeal to what she calls the traditional values of her majority Hispanic district in the border city of Brownsville. Erin, this was not a piece that was meant to compliment these women.
No, if any of these women were Democrats, they would be lauded for being such heroes and such superstars of the movement. But their cardinal sin is that they are conservative Republican women. And one of the women mentioned in this story is a good friend of mine, Cassie Garcia. She is a hardworking, tenacious, conservative woman who is out here trying to help a South Texas community have their voice heard, and an administration that is allowing illegal immigrants to cross into these communities and die on these farm fields when they are dying from heat stroke. These are women who care. And because they are conservative, they want to be vilified. That is not what should be happening in legacy media. What they should be talking about is the fact that these women are representing a new age in the Republican Party, a party that is more diverse and more outreaching than has ever happened before. You see the Republican National Committee opening community centers for Black Americans, Latino Americans, Asian Americans, all across the country to engage in communities about priorities for them. You don't see that from Democrats, and I'm excited to see Cassie and all of these strong women be strong Republican conservative voices in the House in November.
One of the charges the New York Times made with regard to Congresswoman Flores, they said at some point she was using a hashtag QAnon in her tweets. She says she was doing that to draw attention to what she says are their crazy fringe theories, that she has nothing to do with supporting them, but I think she has taken those tweets down. Here's what Glenn Greenwald tweets tonight. He says, 2020, Trump's GOP has become a white nationalist party devoted to implementing a patriarchal dictatorship built on white supremacy. 2022, New York Times, the Trump age has given rise to the far-right Latina. Leslie, do the mainstream folks out there need to make up their minds?
I think there are, in both the Democratic and the Republican Party, there are fragments that hurt the party, and they're extreme elements, whether they're too far left or too far right for either the left or the right. When it comes to Ms. Mayra Flores, however, I think we all know if we delete a tweet, it's because we don't want people to see it. However, as we also know, if you put it out there, it's always out there. I did some research. I did this right. I did some research on this for a radio show that I did right after she was elected. And I'm sorry, but she's not being accurate. It wasn't to rope those people in or to mock them, or it was clearly to get their votes and the support and to show where her support was, which would seem to be of that organization at that time and of Donald Trump. So I don't think the allegations and I don't think exercising one's First Amendment right and giving their opinion in writing this piece is wrong at all. It's part of what makes America great. And I do think, and I've said it before, that although she is a congresswoman, that won't last long because in November, she's got a heavy hitter coming up against her.
She does have a tough race ahead, but she's going to be one to watch. Aaron and Leslie, thank you both for your time.
Thanks,
Shannon.